Hello and welcome to our Shenmue, the animation after show. I'm your host George, and like always, with me is Barry.
This is it.
This is the final. This is the finale. This is the last episode of our after show. We've done it for all 13 episodes. So in this one, I think we'll kind of talk about this episode in the beginning and our thoughts on it, then like a recap of it, and then we'll go through some of the moments that they changed in this episode. So overall, with this episode, it was pretty epic. I think the rooftop scene with the flashbacks, they did a really good job in that sense. You know, like when they did the whole like showing all the journey that Ryu's come through. I kind of wish they did that. In the game. Outside of that though, like my only big negative for it was that they kind of rushed it. Like it really did feel like he was in the roof, he was in a ship, he got to a place, now he's in Shinwa's house. It was like, wait, what? You guys cut a lot. And I think that's probably our biggest complaint, is that like it almost feels like they could have made a whole season on just the first game and like focus on like giving some of these characters more personality and making you feel for them, because like at the point in this episode when he's leaving Hong Kong, I was like, oh, I forgot about these characters randomly. Like I was like, oh, they didn't really talk to each other in this. Like in the game, they let you build relationships if you want. So there is a, I guess, departure and sadness, I guess, that you feel when you leave these characters. And this one, in the anime, I didn't feel it as strong as in the game, something that the game did better. But what's your overall opinion?
Overall of the episode?
Yeah.
I thought it was a fitting conclusion. I think it should have been 2 episodes long, or like a double-length episode. The mere fact that the build-up was like 11 minutes and then we got the opening credits.
Yeah, that was weird.
They were running the credits over the ending, which I thought was, I mean, I get it, but like, this is the ending of the series. Presumably, you know, if we don't get another season, this might be it. And imagine that. It's kind of like, it's like it's the Oscars, and they give like the first black woman best actress, and she comes up on stage and she starts talking, and then they just start playing her off. You know, it's like, you got to let her, this is a big moment. You got to let, you know, so now I guess I'm saying Shenmue episode 13 is the equivalent to the first black woman winning an Oscar.
I mean,
but no, you don't get the end of Shenmue that much. Like, this is the only other time in media that we've seen the epic finale of Shenmue 2 in some format. You know, there hasn't been a novelization or an anime, or, well, there is now, or a manga or a live action, you know, so it's a big deal.
I guess there was a bit of the manga, but those were like extra chapters, so I guess we won't count that as like a adaptation, you know?
Right.
I will say though, like, what you said that you didn't like the fact that they started the intro. Like, I also did feel like they should just skip the intro. Like, if you don't have time, right? If you're gonna be running the credits in the end, just skip the intro. We already know. Like, the first episode didn't have it.
Right. You know, I've seen shows do it where, like, in the last episode, they just show the title of the show, almost like you're watching a movie. Like, just the title of the show will appear, and you're like, and that kind of elevates it and makes you go, oh, this is like a super important episode, when they like completely skip the opening titles. And plus, let's be honest, the opening titles are very Shenmue 1 centric. And I always thought that was very odd that the opening and the ending like focus on like his friends in Yokosuka. Like, you see Goro, don't you? I think you do. I don't think they changed it. And they show Nozomi, who honestly is like a memory at this point. He doesn't talk about her. He doesn't have flashbacks to her. So, I mean, I guess I'm picking apart the series as a whole at this point. But it always struck me as odd that like Nozomi is the end credits for a lot of these episodes.
You know, and that's what I was saying. It was like, it would have made sense if they kind of stuck with Shenmue 1, like did everything from Shenmue 1, try to like I guess think some of the characters, the way they rethought Ryu's dad's friend. That was a really cool episode. Like, I thought that was really well done, really neat. If they could have done that more in the episodes and like really made you feel like the idea of leaving your hometown, you know, that sadness. And it was even in the soundtrack, you know, they had tracks, you know, Departure and all that.
Yeah, and I will say, just as a comment on our own commentary, like, we're coming at this as two people who I think really like Shenmue, but have also been fairly critical of it over the years when we need to be. I also don't think, and maybe I'm speaking for you here, but like, we have not played these games like to the point of memorizing everything. So that's why we're kind of coming at this. We're coming at this as I guess maybe hardcore casuals. I don't know. Like, what would you consider yourself like a hardcore Shenmue fan?
I mean, there was a point maybe like 5 years after the game came out where I was pretty obsessed with it, and like I would go to boards, but I would really talk about the stuff I wanted to talk about. Like, I'd be like,
right,
well, the Chi Men are pretty sick. I love their logo. Or why do you think this? And those kind of conspiracy theories online.
Right.
I will say though that, like, yeah, you do miss a lot of little things. Like, like this anime did a good job adapting like Shenmue to an anime, because like I think a lot of people online are being very negative on it but they don't know, because they're comparing it to top tier stuff. Like, this isn't going to be Attack on Titan. This isn't going to be the next Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
But if you look at the past of Sega stuff they did, like Panzer Dragoon and Virtua Fighter, this is more true to the source material than any other Sega anime's ever been. Even the Sonic stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you were like to take a shelf of of Sega animes, this would be much closer to the top. Then I think bottom tier would probably be like Panzer Dragoon, like you mentioned, Virtua Fighter. I think upper tier would be like the Sonic OVA, Bayonetta Bloody Fate.
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen that in a long time, but that's a cool one. Gungrave is kind of a Sega anime. I don't know, but this is up there for sure.
Yeah, it is, and it's not perfect, like you said. There's a lot of stuff they could fix. Like, I just feel like if they made it longer and they, like I said in the beginning, it would have been a lot better. But what was your overall impressions with this episode? I mean, the whole series as a whole now. Like, we've seen all 13 episodes.
Right,
so
yeah.
We got the whole picture of and they literally did Shenmue 1 and 2. I thought they were going to end it with the fight of Landy, but they really did rush the last bit.
Yeah, I would say as a whole, it was a solid adaptation. I think it was better than it had any right to be. I think when people approach Shenmue now, they sometimes, or I'll backtrack. I think when people approach Shenmue during the Kickstarter, they had a very low expectations for what Yu Suzuki was capable of, and I think Shenmue 3, despite its issues, impressed me in a lot of ways. Like the graphics alone, I'm actually surprised that they were able to make such beautiful environments. And then in the case of this, like, I'm surprised that Sega and Yu Suzuki and his team were able to work with a group that would make something so good. Like, this looks way better than it has any right to be. And there were some corners cut in the show. Like, we noticed background characters were CG models that were just like zombies walking around. But environments looked great, very true to the real life locations. There's been some great comparison photos online. I saw that in the real location, they updated that guide. You remember that, the walking guide that they had in Japan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when you visit Yokosuka. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, overall, I liked the anime. I think the big downside, as we were watching through it, was the 4 Voodoo. Mm-hmm. And I think those episodes, I think they earned their place in the anime because they did show that him learning those 4 things were very important to his journey. Mm-hmm. I would say my 2 negatives are that Shenmue 1 is rushed, mm-hmm. and that the finale is also rushed. And I heard people saying, oh, I hope there's a director's cut. I don't think there is going to be. Yeah. I would be shocked if there's more material. I honestly think they just had 13 episodes, and I guess that's my only complaint, is that it's like you rush the ending, and it still works, but if you know the game, you're like, wow, Ryo just like jumped to the river and then jumped into the cave. They rushed the ending, and yet they spent 4 episodes doing the 4 Voodoo. So I think in the long long term, people will look back on this and say, man, if they just shortened those 4 to 2 episodes, added one more Yokosuka, and then one more episode for the finale, this would be like the perfect show.
Yeah.
But overall, thumbs up from me.
I would say that, like, maybe they could have, like, messed around with the 4 Voodoo. Like, you want to make it 4 episodes, cool, but, like, maybe tie in more of, like, one Voodoo is tied with Joy and you learn more about her past, or, you know, giving every single character, like, Rin one, and then, like, Wong one, and then maybe even Feng Mei, whatever her name is, the slave they have in that temple. If they gave, it's like, well, she's cleaning all the time. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, she is. That's true.
Do you know Kung Fu? Do you like, what are you doing here? You just clean. Okay. So they gave them all like part of the episode, and there will be the second story where they get more characterization. That could have been cool. But yeah, like just putting 4 for the 4 Voodoo was a bit weird. That was a misstep. But let's talk a little bit about this episode. We got one big change in this episode. Remember last time I told you it'd be cool if Landy gets off the helicopter and fights? Yeah, he did that. He just like, all right, I'm gonna get down, I'm gonna fight you, and I'm like, oh, like how epic would that been in the game? Like that, because you never fight Landy ever. I mean, in the cutscene in the first one maybe, but not you as a character. Like the idea that like you've grown so much and then they let you fight Landy and Landy just beats you up. That would have been great in the game, but they did it in the anime, and I give them props. That was really sick. I was surprised they did it. When I saw him come down, I'm like, nah, they're not going to do it. Oh, they did it. I was very shocked. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought that was very cool. I mean, I am not a fan of them messing around with the anime, or with the game story too much, but anytime you get an opportunity to have Ryo and Landy fight, it's cool. And in this case, they were together. They were in like the same space, and in the game they didn't fight, but here it makes sense to have something happen. Actually kind of surprises me they didn't have a fight in the game. That is weird.
Yeah, they should have though.
The character model was there. You know, he's right there. It's
such a like cliche in video games to have this one character that you fight, like in an RPG where you can't beat them and it's part of the story, right? And it cuts to a cutscene. I'm surprised they didn't do this in Shenmue 2. Very surprised, and I'm actually surprised that they let this happen. I wonder what Yu Suzuki thinks about the fact that this is the first time technically they really did fight. Landy and Ryu. I mean, when his dad died, was that a fight? He just punched him in the stomach. I don't know. But yeah,
not really.
And then we still have the regular fight with what's his name, Dao or whatever this guy's name is, the big guy. I thought the fight was pretty cool. They did this whole like flashback. It was more epic, I would say, than the actual game here, the anime fight here. I thought they did a good job, but it was pretty funny when he started jumping on him. It was like those weird Dragon Ball Z anime jumping sounds. It's like,
it was.
It was like, okay. Yeah. But yeah, what was your thoughts on the fight? Like, I'm lukewarm on the fighting. I think the show should have like cut down on the fighting and more on the characterization. But I thought this fight was probably one of the better ones in the show.
Yeah, it was good. It was broken up by a little other things going on with different characters. There was that whole like thing where did he punch Ryo in the face? I'm trying to remember what he did. There was like a weird punch. Oh, he like punched him in the back, didn't he?
Yeah.
But then like Ren came and like took some of the force. I was a little confused by that. He was like, Ryo, and then he's like, boof, and he hits both of them. You
don't know anime, I guess, right? That's how it works. The power of friendship, dude.
I got it. I don't watch much anime. That's why I'm canceling Crunchyroll.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. If I was Crunchyroll, I'd be like, I'm not gonna do a season 2 because Barry canceled it.
Sorry.
Let me see. We got another picture. Okay, so they changed some of the the whole thing with what's his name. I'm trying to look for his name because I didn't memorize it, but Yondu Zu. They skipped his like bit where he talks about the Phoenix Mirror and he talks about his dad and the fact that Landy's real name and his real motivation. They cut it to after the fight, after he gets kidnapped, right? that was kind of a weird change, but I don't know. I thought it worked better in the narrative. I'm not sure if that's how they did it in the game, but I'm pretty sure they did, and I'm pretty sure you found out all this information. Then the fight happened, and then you go to the village that you were supposed to. But here they kind of did a whole like, oh, here's a flashback of what he told them, and more history about the dragon mirror. And I feel like they added more of the history of it on here, like where the stone came from. I might be, because I recently played Shenmue 3, and I remember them talking about the stone from that river. And so I'm like, dude, did he talk about this in 2 or not? Because I haven't played 2 in a long time, so maybe that's different. I'm not really 100% sure. Most likely, they stuck with the game on this, but yeah, I like that they did the whole lore thing here to start, to end it, I guess.
Yeah, lore was nice. A little lore dump.
Yeah.
In the game, how did Ryo get to Shenmue, the Shenhua area? Did we see him on a little boat or something? I'm trying to remember.
I think there was a you go in a boat and you end up because it's a remote village, so he ends up in this, and then you have to walk. Remember, it was like like they had the forest, which I thought at the time was kind of weak because the power of the Dreamcast couldn't do grass and all that, and you could tell, but. It's weird because you go from the city, and like Shenmue games are really good at doing city stuff in the game. Like the cities,
right?
Because it's so easy, right? It's just cement and all that. You could tell that they weren't ready for the forest areas, which is cool because 3 looks a lot better on that aspect.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. There's a lot of walking and a lot of talking. A lot of people hated the last chapter in the game because it was so slow compared to the other ones. But Ryu also basically told everyone goodbye. I don't really have any much to say about this, but I will say that the best character who had the best art was Wong, who became a little capitalist. He started his own little banana shop. I was like, that's cool for the character because like in the other one he was just a street rat, and he when Ryu left he was still the same person. So that's cool that they changed him up a bit.
That's my favorite thing about the anime is Ryo's almost like Forrest Gump. Like changing all these people's lives, you know? Yeah. And even though the anime does not have a definitive conclusion, at least you get all these little mini conclusions for these characters, though Ren will return. We know that.
Yeah. He even teased it on this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, maybe I'll follow you. It's like, all right, cool, dude. So right away we have Ryu meeting Shenhua. We don't have the build-up where he's just walking. And it's the same as the game where she's trying to rescue a deer, which is a really ugly deer. I'm looking at it right here. I'm like, is that a deer? It looks like a Pokemon character. But yeah, and then like always, our boy gets knocked out or something. Like, that's like a stereotype. And then they end up in her house. So I'm like, what? In the game, Shenhua and you stay in a cave, and it's raining outside, and you guys have conversations, which works in a video game because a lot of the when you follow people in this game, it's a lot of talking sometimes in RPGs, so it works there. But in the anime they like cut a lot of the content right here out. They're like, now you're in her house and she just lets you think Shenhua's just bringing strange Japanese men to her house?
I mean, I'd hope not
not away
without her father's permission. Yeah, but that is a little weird.
Yeah, I like how she didn't even really know him. She's like, oh, come over to my house. But anyway, then we get the whole ending for 2 where we find out that the tree's called Shenmue. Shenhua's the leaf or flower, which is her. And then they do the ending from 2 where you do the lighting fires. Actually, this is the beginning of 3. Oh, it's the beginning of 3 and the end of 2. And
that's right. Yeah.
But they didn't do the magic sword thing, did they? And
the sword is actually a dagger. It's much smaller.
Yeah, they changed it in 3, right? Like, it was huge in 2.
It was always a dagger, but I think the size it didn't translate well to the way they like framed it, so it looked like they found a giant sword, which is kind of funny because when they did the deluxe Shenmue 3 set, that hasn't shipped yet actually, it comes with like the dagger and it looks like a little letter opener.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here, and it looks freaking huge. It's
Yeah.
like it's like
not.
this fat. It's like bigger than Ryu's hand. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, but yeah, they didn't really highlight the sword or the dagger, so I was surprised because I remember when after 2 came out, there was a lot of like, I guess we could say theories that the next games were gonna have superpowers and Hadoukens and all that, and dragon punches, but and also the fact that the Shenmue Online anime had powers and stuff, that kind of led people to believe that, but apparently not, because they kind of erased all that. Like, even a hint of powers, they kind of erased from the anime and 3.
Right.
So
yeah, that's true.
I wonder if that's a rewrite or it was just misinterpreted by fans, where they're like, "Oh, powers must be next," and then Yu Suzuki's like, "Oh my God, no, please no."
Well, you know, Shenmue Online really had a lot of dragon power, like weird fire powers and things like that.
Yeah,
so.
it was kind of strange.
Yeah.
But that's all. Actually, that's all the notes I have for this episode. So, overall, Shenmue Season 1, what do you give it on the elementary scale of A to F?
Oh boy. I would give it a solid B+.
I would say it's about the same. Like, we got to start understanding that this is an adaptation of a video game, and how many adaptations of video games are good. Like, I think I could count them on my one hand. Like,
Right.
so they did a good job. I hope that they take notes and they let the characters breathe for the next season. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to rewrite some of the bad writing that some of these characters got. It's because
Right.
like, it's a different medium. When you're playing it as Ryu, you're seeing it through his point of view. The good thing about the anime is we can see other people's point of views, and I hope they play with that a lot more, because there's a lot of instances where they could do a lot of cool stuff. So I'm hoping that they do a good job with 3. It's gonna be interesting because like 3 doesn't really have that much of a plot, really. It's a lot of like the gambler, you know.
Yeah.
But they do have a lot of lore, so it's gonna be interesting to see if they expand on that and all that. So yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Anything you want to add before I close it up?
Well, you know, it's going to be a while before we do another after show, but if you like us chatting about things, you can always check us out on Sega Talk, and I have a feeling we'll be back doing these in the fall when that Sonic Netflix show drops. Maybe we'll do like one episode, because it's going to be like a dump, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be like a season dump.
That's Netflix. They just like put it all out there right away.
Yeah, well, at least they'll do that and then cancel it after one season, right?
Yeah, hopefully not, but
Yeah.
hopefully not. So, what's your guys' opinion on Shenmue, the animation? We've already got all 13 episodes. What do you want to see for the second season? Do you think that they sped this season up too much? Do you think they should have, calmed it down? Maybe only do 1.5 games? I don't know. Let us know what your opinion is in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next after show. Bye.
Bye.